Hey everyone, Minkus here. Recently I've picked up Elder Scrolls Online again. I've been playing it on and off since beta, but I've only really ever played it like the other Elder Scrolls games, solo. Seeing as I've convinced a few of my WoW friends to join me, and I've spent a load of time teaching them how ESO works compared to WoW, I figured I'd just do a getting started on Elder Scrolls Online guide. I'll start with the basics. Roles. Like any MMO, there are 3 roles: tank, the person who draws monsters' attention and is built to survive the damage; damage dealer, the people who are built solely for damage to kill the monsters fast; and healer/support, the person that buffs the group and keeps them alive when the stupid ass DPS stand in fire like the fuckwits they are. The beauty of ESO is any class can do any role, so if you want to be a Nightblade healer or a sorcerer tank, you totally can. I'll get into that more in the skill mechanics section. The classes of ESO, while flexible, still have an inherent gameplay they're built for. Nightblade is like a rogue and excels at physical damage through weapons, but they also have a few great magic abilities to damage and heal. Dragon Knight is mostly built around tanking and fire. They are fantastic tanks and really good mages. Templar is like Paladin in the classical sense, great at all 3 roles. They have a wide variety of heals, buffs, shields, and damage abilities. Sorcerers are perfect for mage style gameplay, but they also offer damage shields, physical damage boosts, and various survivability spells. And Warden, that was introduced with Morrowind, have a pet skill line with damage and support abilities, a healing skill line with lots of nature based heals and buffs, and a tanky skill line based on frost. The races of ESO are just as flexible as the class, but again they are designed with certain roles in mind. Like Bretons have magicka based passives that benefit you most as a mage type character, but they also get spell resistance, which is still good for tanks. Orcs are big party boys, so their passives focus around being tankier, but they also do more melee damage. Redguard is like the physical version of Breton. They have increases to maximum stamina and stam regen with a chance on hit with melee attack to get more free stamina. High Elf or Altmer is also focused on magic. They get increased maximum magicka and regen and more damage with flame, frost, and shock damage types. Wood Elves or Bosmer are stamina based and have increases to stealth. Khajiit are similar in passives to Bosmer, but they're a little tankier. Argonians are overgrown lizards from the swamps of Black Marsh and get healing and magicka bonuses. Dark Elves or Dunmer get bonuses to maximum magicka and stamina, flame resistance, and more flame damage. Nords are frosty boys from Skyrim centered around tanking and stamina. And Imperials. They are too afraid to pick a faction. They get extra health, stamina, and a chance on hit to gain health. The thing that really separates ESO from other MMOs is its skill line system. Each class has 3 skill lines with their own ultimate, active abilities, and passives. Each weapon type has its own skill line too: 1-hand and shield, 2-hand weapons, dual wielding weapons, bows, and destruction and restoration staves. Even the 3 armor types have passives and an active ability. Light armor for mages, medium for physical damage, and heavy for tanks. These are how you define your skill loadout and general playstyle. If you want to tank, going sword and shield is obviously a good idea, and if you want to heal, restoration staff is great, but because the classes have abilities that heal, it isn't required. You can totally heal while dual wielding daggers and stabbing bitches, but that limits your options for heals. That being said, a Khajiit mage in all heavy armor isn't ideal, but you can play that way effectively enough on your own. Just don't do group content like that, please. There's a passive skill line for thievy types that improve stealth and stealing. You can even be a motherfucking vampire or werewolf with their own abilities and passives. No Elder Scrolls game would be complete without the guilds. Fighters Guild helps with fighting Daedra, vampires, and werewolves. Mages Guild has a few must-have things for mages, and the Dungeoneering Guild called the Undaunted has things to aid in your group play. Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood also make a lazy appearance in the skill line with passives to help you steal and kill civilians. Their zones are cool and the quests are great, but the skill lines aren't useful in combat. Somerset included the Psijic Order that has time-based magic for CC and healing. PvP has its own lines for offense, support, and if you manage to be Emperor and become basically a god. Crafting is unique in ESO, where you don't just simply get to make better stuff as you level crafting, but the ability to make higher level items are their own passives. Each profession has its own line, but I'll get into that in another video. While ESO is a purchase to play game, meaning you buy it then there's no subscription. There is a premium subscription you can get. See, when ZOS adds to ESO they don't increase the level cap and add areas to the game making all the previous stuff obsolete. No, the original content is still the core. Instead they do DLCs which add new zones with quests, towns, new gear sets, and dungeons. Expansions like Morrowind and Somerset that add new zones and all that brings. But Morrowind added the Warden class, and Somerset adding the jewel crafting profession. Morrowind is now considered just DLC, which is important because ESO Plus, the premium subscription you can get monthly, gives you open access to all DLCs for as long as you have ESO Plus active. It also increases all XP gains by 10%, gives you a craft bag that I'll get into later, and 1500 crowns, $15 worth of the premium currency for the store, for $15 a month. The Crown Store offers 0 pay to win options since it only contains mounts, pets, outfits, costumes, etc. It does have a few things like mount training tickets, but the items like that only save you waiting in the stupid time-gated system, and no actual advantage. The gameplay of ESO is second to none. Action-based combat that requires you to aim abilities since there's no tab targeting. Most of the damage you'll take is entirely avoidable. The game is very skill and reaction based. You can block and dodge or simply walk away from most enemy attacks. It is very fast paced and sometimes almost chaotic. I mentioned I played ESO like a regular Elder Scrolls game for years because you can and still enjoy it. There's crap tons of quests and exactly the type of world you'd expect from Elder Scrolls. It's definitely better with friends and doing the typical MMO group content like dungeons and stuff, but I've enjoyed probably several hundred hours solo. So don't be afraid to get it even if you don't have friends that play. You can make them in Tamriel or trick your friends to join you like I did. While normally MMOs center the gameplay around combat, you can also just be a crafter, selling things you make and leveling that up. There's even player housing with ridiculous levels of customization and a lot of functional furniture like crafting stations. You can even teleport to any house you or a friend own for free from anywhere. There are currently dozens of different houses from tiny inn rooms to giant mansions. You can own as many as you can afford. You can make a small functional room with all the crafting stations like I have, or have a horrifying shrine of death like my friend. Travel in ESO is also pretty nifty. Instead of flight paths and hearthstones you get way shrines scattered all over the world. You can teleport to any of these that you've found at any time for a fee, or you can go shrine to shrine for free. You can teleport to any friends or guildmates to be placed at the nearest shrine free of charge, even if you haven't discovered it yet. The inventory is like a lot of other MMOs with one bag that holds all your stuff that you can upgrade to make bigger later. This becomes important because crafting materials take up a lot of space. The craft bag I mentioned earlier from ESO Plus is a fantastic way to help with inventory management. Any crafting material goes in its own bag with unlimited space, making the stress of oh should I pick this up, I only have 2 slots left go away almost altogether, saving lots of trips to town. Of course there's a bank that can be upgraded too. The bank in ESO is account wide so trading items between your own characters is a breeze. ESO is not without its bad parts however. The default UI is very lacking in terms of information, and to be honest the default inventory screen sucks. Luckily this game supports add-ons, which I will cover a big list of my recommended add-ons in my next video. And there you go. You are now master at the most basics of the game. I'll do more in-depth videos for each section to expand more on things like the combat, professions, and how much I hate the default inventory menu.